Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2019 Honda Passport. Up front is a 3.5 liter V6 and down below is a 9-speed automatic transmission. And if you want to read more of my thoughts, head on over to carmarshal.com/overdrive where I'll be writing a complete article about the Passport. But let's get back to that 3.5 liter V6. Now it is the only engine option in the Passport and I'm totally fine with that. The Passport is a little bit larger of a vehicle and so it needs that little extra oomph. All right, it's 5 degrees, so this is the coldest review I've ever done, but let's see what the V6 can do. Oh! Stay in it. Oh my God. Wow, it teased me at first. I was like, oh, you probably saw in my reaction. I was like, oh, all right. But no, that surely gets you once it does get going. That was impressive. That was pretty neat. Now, like I said, paired to it is that 9-speed automatic transmission, which is actually shifted with buttons, but we'll get to that when we talk about the interior of the Passport. The transmission can also be shifted on the paddles, interestingly enough. There are 2 paddles behind the steering wheel for shifting through the gears with the transmission. And last but not least, the Passport is available in front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. I really genuinely think that in today's market with so many different SUVs, they're really going to be separated by, does it have all-wheel drive or does it not? It's really going to be a separation of the boys from the men, and this does have all-wheel drive, and this current one that I'm driving has the all-wheel drive system. So let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me I have 2 analog gauges. On the far left is my temperature, and on the far right is my fuel. Then in the middle, I actually really like the digital gauges because it says your miles per hour in digits, which it's 2019, it should. We don't really need mechanical gauges anymore. But the tachometer, which you do get a tachometer, is a bar. And so it's like a video game almost. As you rev up, it keeps going. It's really, really reminiscent of the old Honda S2000s. Honda S2000s, they're little convertibles from the 2000s. They had this same sort of tachometer, and it was my favorite part of that car as well. On the steering wheel, you get a bunch of different controls. Your music, source, screen, home, Bluetooth phone. On the right, I have lane keep assist, cruise control, and that sort of thing. And then, like I said, it has those paddle shifters on the back. To the left of me, I have a couple different things. A lane keep assist on and off, collision warning on and off, traction control on and off, and then a big eco button. So the eco button is going to put the Passport into eco mode. You're gonna get a little bit better gas mileage and that sort of thing. To the right of me, I have my infotainment system, which has nice tactile buttons. I wish that there was a little bit more feedback in the volume and select buttons. Down below that, you get your heating and air conditioning controls, which there's an interesting button that says RR settings. When you hit that, you actually control the rear climate control. Then you get a cigarette lighter and a USB charger. Then you have the cup holders and the shifter. Now, I'm a big fan of traditional shifters, and a lot of auto manufacturers are trying to steer away, and it seems like a lot of auto manufacturers aren't quite sure which direction they want to go. So in terms of new shifters, new way of shifting your car, I really like the buttons. If I have to do a non-traditional shifter, I think buttons is the way that I would go because it's so natural. You just see the shape and you push it. I mean, it really goes back to the days of kindergarten where you see a P, push it, that's park. Real simple there. Now, on the shifter, there is a button. Now, if you hit that, we have a couple different drive modes. That's how you select through your drive modes. So right now we're in normal, but I can put it into snow, mud, or sand. We'll touch on these a little bit more later, but what's really cool is when you do hit those buttons, a little animation of the Passport comes up on the screen, which is really, really neat. I always like when cars do that. I think it's such a small little accent. I don't understand why people don't do that. It kind of gives you a little sense of pride over your vehicle, if you will. Now, also on the shifter, you get the automatic start-stop on and off button. Now, I've mentioned this in many videos before, and I'll mention it again. I hate this feature. I don't like auto start-stop, and that's just my own personal taste. But the Honda Passport allows you to turn it off, and that makes everything okay. Everything okay. It totally changes my mind. There are some vehicles out there that you cannot turn off the auto start stop feature, and it's just the most annoying thing. But because you can, and it's not my preference, I'll turn it off and forget about it. That is really, really cool to me. Then you have 2 cup holders, a giant center bin almost. I mean, this thing is really massive. And then of course you get back seats, although the Passport is smaller than the Pilot and is not available with a 3rd row of seating. But that being said, let's get out and let's do a back seat review. All right, so we are in the back seat of the Honda Passport, and it is roomy. I always make jokes in these reviews like, oh, I can't tap dance back here. I could. I definitely could. I do get a center console with 2 cup holders, really nice. Then I get 2 cup holders in either door. So right now we're sitting at 6 cup holders just back here alone. I have a little tray down here. I have my own vents, plenty of headroom. And then I'll show a shot here. Really big trunk because this is in between the CRV and the Pilot. It's bigger than the CRV, smaller than the Pilot, and doesn't get the 3rd row. But that means you get an enormous, enormous trunk. You have tie-down hooks in the back. There is a button on the side to lower the seats, which is really, really helpful. So really, so much cargo space in the Passport, it's insane. But for the back seat, getting back to the back seat review as I digress about the trunk, really nice back seats. They almost feel, they might be, I can't totally tell, they feel like they're stadium seats, so I can see almost over the driver, which is super nice. Being a passenger, it's always nice to be able to see everything as well. Not as important as the driver, but still nice. Now, let's talk about the looks before we talk about the Passport as a whole. I really dig the looks of this SUV. I think it's one of the best Hondas that's being produced right now. I don't see anything wrong with it. I love black wheels. I love the black trim. I think it's a really stylish SUV. It's definitely one of the best Hondas being made right now, and it might be one of the best SUVs looks-wise that you can buy. I really, really dig it. Now, let's talk about the Passport as a whole, because actually, if you didn't know, this is the first model year for this Passport, but they used to make the Passport back in the 90s to about the early 2000s. And that Passport, that was a rugged vehicle. That was meant for taking anything you could throw at it. And I really like that about the old Passport. I have spent in total, about 2 weeks in the country of Haiti. Now, Haiti, they don't have very good road systems. It's very harsh conditions for vehicles. Your average Mini Cooper will get destroyed within a couple minutes of driving there. But while I was there, in my time spent there, there was a handful of cars that seemed to be pretty consistently still running, still doing their job, even in the harshest of conditions. And that car was the old Honda Passport, the 90s Honda Passport. I saw tons and tons and tons of them in Port-au-Prince because they worked and because they were rugged and because they survived. Honestly, that's it. You know, auto manufacturers send their cars off to these proving grounds, you know, outside Detroit or in Kentucky where they drive over some cobblestones. If you really want to prove your vehicle, send it to Haiti. Let it live there for a couple months. And if it's still running, if the suspension hasn't been sheared off of it, you've made a very good car. And that's what the old Passports were. And this feels very similar. Now, I can't speak to the ruggedness because this is the first model year of this body style, but this has all of the makings for a rugged vehicle. I really don't like when people say, oh, new vehicles are rugged, because they're not. That's something you have to earn. You have to earn the ruggedness. But this has those off-road settings. This has that 3.5-liter V6, all-wheel drive, and actually, if you go on the website, you can actually spec out fender flares, a roof rack. I mean, you could really go in depth with the Passport. You can really make this thing an off-road machine just with options on the website. There's even an urban and an off-road like preset. Like this is Call of Duty and you have preset loadouts or something. That is really, really cool. And I'm really excited to see where the Passport goes. Oh, that's why they named it the Passport. Because it'll take you anywhere. Oh my God. Oh, it makes so much sense now. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys learned something about the 2019 Honda Passport. I hope to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys. There goes a sight from my soul.